Kajol, you're from Mumbai. And there were a lot of people after they saw Slumdog Millionaire who say, oh, my heart goes out to these children. Oh, do children live like this? Do children have to go through these circumstances? In the city of Mumbai, alleged, quote unquote, alleged pedophiles have been let off, Kajal. You worked in these cases there. There is a difference between the Slumdog Millionaire fictionalizing of how children live and the reality of what's going on in our cities and our villages today, isn't it, Kajal? Isn't there?
Yeah, Arnab, absolutely so. But, you know, we can go on taking these isolated cases and we may come on into various shows and chastise and say we are shocked and outraged. But ultimately we have to look at ways of dealing with the system. I mean, Kiran Bedi says, yes, you know, they are venting out their frustrations and they need to be sensitized. But as a country, what are we doing? As a nation, what are we doing to look at the protection issues of children? There is a law, there is a Juvenile Justice Act, which clearly says any child, you know, there is no criminality below 7 years of age. So they cannot even be apprehended, let alone be brutalized. So the law has teeth, but if we are not going to implement it, the police have an arm, which is the Special Juvenile Justice Act. Are we following it? And, you know, the 11th five-year scheme has the Integrated Child Protection Scheme, which is such an ambitious scheme of the ministry. But a few months before the election, we don't even know whether it's going to go into deep freeze. So, as Kiran Bedi says, they are under-resourced, they are understaffed, the police. What are we doing to change the face? We'll take on isolated cases, we'll take on terrorism, and, you know, there'll be a Nithari, there'll be an Arushi, there'll be an Anchorage. But what after that? Or no, unless we are really looking at using political will, looking at allocation, looking at systemic change, which is what the Integrated Child Protection Scheme really looks at. What are we doing to push all these? Because, you know, ultimately, sometimes, as we see, these police probably were brutalizing. But there are other cases the child line sees, where there are exemplary officers who go all out of their way. So how do you isolate? Do you take a whole system and say they are all bad? Or do we figure out, you know, who are the people, who are the stakeholders? Is child protection everybody's business? Or do we really get into it every time there are these stray cases that happen?
Well, you know, it's the job of the media to report these cases. I know, Vinod Mehta, you're raising your hand, you're saying something there. I want to raise a broader issue with all our panelists today. And especially in the backdrop of what happened in Mangalore, because Mangalore, you know Mr. Mehta and you know Ms. Bedi, everybody asked a question, oh, you know, the television camera person was as much part of the plot. He is as much part of the problem. Why was he recording those pictures? I want to show the pictures of Mangalore. Let's think about what would have happened in Mangalore had the television cameras not recorded that assault inside the pub. Would Renuka Chaudhary have been talking about it now? Absolutely not. Let's go back perhaps a year and a half and look at the pictures that had come from Bhagalpur. Those pictures which will never be forgotten in the history of Indian democracy in a long time, of one man being tied to a motorcycle and then being dragged 10 feet. Sometimes it's important to show these pictures over and over and over again till I just want to ask that question to you, Vinod Mehta, that when these pictures come out, tell me, is the media to be flogged for recording these events? Or is the media, in the absence of the media, would anyone have cared?
Yeah. Arnab, I'd just like to make a slight point of the earlier discussion that if we restrict this debate to children, the brutalities on children, I think it's not enough. Because these kinds of brutalities are inflicted on people of 6 and 60. So we have to look at our criminal justice system, how it treats the poor of this country. That's the issue. Not the child is an issue, but the entire, all poor people are treated the same way.
True.
Now, as far as your point about the camera is concerned, I have been an occasional critic of 24-hour news channels. But I would give the Bharat Ratna to them for the Mangalore incident and their ability to capture the social evils of India on camera. Because once people see them, we've all heard that policemen beat children, but having seen it with your own eyes, it has a completely traumatic effect. And I think that not only do the cameras help in bringing this to our consciousness, but they also show us what can be done and what should be done.
Yes.
So I think don't shoot the messenger. For example, in Mangalore I read that some people are saying that those people who captured those goons hitting those women should actually, those TV journalists should actually have telephoned the police or themselves effected the arrest of the goons. Now, are TV journalists and are journalists law enforcing agencies? Am I, as a journalist, expected to go around with, besides having my computer, with guns and with handcuffs? This is an absurd argument. We are there to record reality. We are not there to implement justice. That's not our job. To do justice and to catch crooks and catch criminals is the job of the police force. Yes. I don't think we want to do that. So I have great admiration for the way the Mangalore incident and this incident was captured, and other incidents of social inequality and social torture in this country have been captured on camera. And in that respect, TV has done us a national service by showing that these things happen, and they happen. They are commonplace in our country. They happen very frequently. And once we see them, we are ashamed. And I hope that after we are ashamed, we will take some corrective action.